Welcome into another video. It is divisional round weekend, and I could not be more excited for this weekend slate. Super wildcard weekend. All 6 games were phenomenal games, except for maybe the Monday Night Football one. NFC maybe even carried the load a little bit more. But still, we have 4 amazing teams left in the AFC. I could not be more excited to get into it. Let's see how I did over wildcard weekend. I went 2-1 in the NFC, but a perfect 3-0 in the AFC. 5-1 overall on the weekend. It does not get much better than that. But remaining, we got the Bills going into Mile High against the Denver Broncos, and then Houston making their way to Foxborough, Massachusetts to take on the New England Patriots. Could not be more excited. Let's go ahead and get into it, kicking it off with Saturday's matchup between the Bills and the Broncos at 3:30. As you can see here on the left side of your screen, the Bills are 3rd and 4th in yards and points per game offensively, while the Broncos are 12th and 14th in yards and points per game offensively. On the defensive side of the ball, the Broncos take the cake on this one, though, coming in at 4th and 3rd in yards and points per game. Bills not far behind them in 7th and 12th in yards and points per game. Let's take a look at our key matchups here, and it's going to kick it off with James Cook versus that Denver rush defense. Not only did James Cook have to play the number 1 defensive unit in all of football last week against the Jaguars, now he has the number 2 unit. And the Jaguars did a very good job at controlling James Cook last weekend. Let's see if the Denver Broncos can do the same thing this weekend. The Bills are phenomenal at running the football, but it's not going to be an easy task. Matchup number 2, and that's going to be the Bills pass defense versus Bo Nix and co. Number 1 pass defense in all of football. Meanwhile, Bo Nix 8th in passing yards this week. Trevor Lawrence didn't struggle too much, but the Bills were able to find their moments to take advantage of some turnovers. And T-Law and Bo Nix kind of are similar players in a certain way, with kind of strong arm, a little bit more of risk takers, a little bit more sloppy with the football, but they can drive down the field at a high rate and get the job done at the end of the day. Let's see how that plans out this weekend. Let's go ahead and get into our keys to victory. And with the Bills, it's keep Josh Allen upright. Josh Allen was surgical, and I mean absolutely surgical against the Jacksonville Jaguars, completing 80% of his passes, mostly from within the pocket. This man did not have to play superhero ball at all, really, in that game, and that's going with 3 wide receivers who are all banged up. Their whole wide receiver room's all banged up. I think they only have like 3 active guys right now on that roster at the wide receiver position. So you keep him upright, let him play surgical. He's going to make those hero plays regardless. But if they can keep him upright and let him be that surgical player from within the pocket, that could really lead to a lot more success this weekend against a good Broncos defense. And for the Broncos, no limitations on offense. I hear Broncos fans constantly complain about how they believe Sean Payton is limiting Bo Nix and his potential. Now, I don't really know how much I believe that. I do think that there is some limitations that Peyton probably needs to take the governor off. At the same time, is he limiting him for a reason? Does he not fully trust him? Regardless of that, you can't have that against this Bills team. You can't have any limitations whatsoever offensively. You're going to have to score points. It's a great offense. Josh Allen can handle any defense in the NFL. You're not going to be able to take any setbacks this weekend, and they've been in some games this year where their offense hasn't looked the part when it should. So there's no limitations on offense this week. Let's go ahead and get into my winner of the game, and that is the Buffalo Bills. And why I'm rolling with the Buffalo Bills is I really just think that Josh Allen is on another level right now. I think that game against Jacksonville was one of the best games I've watched him play. And it's because he's not making all these special plays or playing superhero ball. He was absolutely surgical. I feel like when the postseason comes around, he rises to a different level. He really does. The moment is never too big for him. And I think this is the year that he finally gets over the hump and goes to the Super Bowl. I said that I had the winner of the Jags and the Bills going to the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be a good game. I have a lot of respect for what the Denver Broncos have done offensively and defensively and what they've done this season. I just think the experience is going to really come into play here, and that the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen are going to get it done against a good, very good Denver Broncos defense. We got another game to get into. Let's go ahead and hop into the Texans and the Patriots. As you can see here on the left side of your screen, we have a good matchup, but offensively, the Texans do not match with the New England Patriots, coming in at 19th and 13th in yards and points per game. Meanwhile, the Patriots 4th and 2nd. Defensively, though, we're talking about another level. While the Patriots defense might be close, I do think we are talking about the best defense in football, with the Texans coming in at first and second in yards and points per game. I do think there is a big difference to that 8th and 4th that you see there from the New England Patriots. Key matchups of the week, you have the number 6 pass defense of the Houston Texans going up against Drake May. And that is a big matchup. It was a really big matchup. The Chargers were one of the best pass defenses in football last weekend, and they gave Drake May their fits. They were able to get after him. They sacked him 5 times, got 2 turnovers, and I think that we are talking about another echelon here with this Texans defense that is going to be very big and very concerning for the Patriots offense. Let's go ahead and get into key matchup number 2, and that is the Texans offensive line versus the Patriots defensive line. Now, a couple of things here. The Pittsburgh Steelers were able to really get after Stroud and put a lot of pressure on him Monday night, causing him to make a lot of mistakes. But I do think that Pittsburgh's defense in that front four is different than the Patriots front four. On the other hand, the Patriots were able to get after Justin Herbert and really control the line of scrimmage against that Chargers offensive line. On the other hand, while the Texans offensive line is not the greatest, I do think that is a step above the Chargers offensive line and what they're charting out there. Regardless, you got the Texans offensive line coming off kind of a game. Stroud was only sacked 3 times, but they really got after him. And then you got the Patriots defensive line coming off of a massive game against the Chargers. Let's see if they can keep that momentum going. Let's see if the Texans offensive line can bounce back. That's going to be a very key matchup to watch out for. Let's go ahead and get into some keys to victory. And for the Houston Texans, getting after Drake May is key. You saw what the Chargers defensive unit was able to do against Drake May. They really got after him, sacked him 5 times, created 2 turnovers. At the end of the day, though, they could not come out on top because the Chargers offense just was not able to maximize their offensive possessions. Patriots defense did a very good job at that. And I think that Houston is going to need a lot of touches offensively to come out on top of this one. And then for the Patriots, it's limiting their young rookies. Woody Marks, Jalen Noel, Jaden Higgins are going to be key focal points in this weekend's game. Looking like Nico Collins is not going to be playing in this one. I know they got Christian Kirk and Dalton Schultz, but Woody Marks had a phenomenal game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Higgins and Noel, their roles have grown as the year has gone on. Christian Gonzalez looks to be playing. If you eliminate these young rookies, I think CJ Stroud is going to struggle immensely against this Patriots defense. I think that is going to be key. Take Marks out of the game, take Noel, take Higgins out of the game, and I think you guys come out on top of this one. Let's go ahead and get into who I think is going to win the game, and I'm rolling with the home team, the New England Patriots. This was by far the toughest game I had to pick in all of divisional round weekend. Everything in my heart is telling me to roll with the Houston Texans because of how good they are defensively. I do think that we're looking at probably the best defense of the decade. That's how good they are. They don't do anything crazy. They line up and they play fucking football, and they are really, really good at it. But I do think that the loss of Nico Collins is going to be insurmountable. I don't think that I have a whole lot of faith in the Houston Texans offense right now. And I just think that the Patriots defense is going to be able to win that matchup more than the Texans. That's such a tough call. More than the Texans defense versus the Patriots offense. It's crazy to hear me say that, but I do think that the Patriots offense is going to be able to put up a few more points than the Texans are. I think we're looking at like a 13-10 final. I really do, because that's how good the Texans defense is. But I don't have a whole lot of faith in the Houston offense right now. And that's going to go ahead and wrap up my AFC divisional round predictions. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another video. If you have not looked at my NFC ones, they're on the channel right now. Posted them last night. Go give a look at those. Overall, hope you guys have a phenomenal divisional round weekend. Go Bears. Fingers crossed. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All of that good stuff. Peace.